And good afternoon everyone. Hope you guys are doing well at home, revising the concepts we discussed in our earlier videos. And yes, I am again here with yet another very important concept of cell. Yes, that is about plasma membrane. And this is a continuation video of my last video where we discussed about the cell discoveries, the cell history, the various shapes and size of the cell. Yes, and today we will be discussing about cell structure, guys. Yes, in which plasma membrane plays a vital role. Yes, so the basic cell structure we have already discussed. Yes, cell comprises of a cell membrane, and when we are going inside the cell, we can see the fluid-like structure which we discussed as cytoplasm, and the middle, the brain of the cell, which is called as your nucleus. Yes, the basic structure of the nucleus comprises of three important parts. First, the outer boundary, that is called as your cell membrane. And when we go inside the cell, we can find cytoplasm, which is a fluid or jelly-like substances. And the third one, which is very important one, is the brain of the cell, which is nucleus. But here in today's video, we will be focusing only on plasma membrane. Yes, it's a very important concept of cells. Yes, so plasma membrane, guys. So what is plasma membrane? So when we are going to observe the cell under microscope now, the outer boundary, yes, the outer boundary of the cell, or you can say the outer covering of the cell. Yes, guys, the outer covering or the outer boundary of the cell which protects the inner content of the cell. What is that inner content? Your cytoplasm, your cell organelles, the nucleus, everything is present inside the nucleus. Yes, and that cell membrane protect these internal conditions of the cell from the external environment. So what is cell membrane? Cell membrane is the outer covering, yes, which protects the inner content of the cell from the external environment. Yes, once again, so what is cell membrane? Cell membrane is the outer covering or outer boundary which protects the inner content of the cell from the external environment. Yes, so cell membrane, or you can also call it as plasma membrane. Yes, and another name has been given to cell membrane, which is called as your selectively permeable membrane. Yes, it has got three names as usual: cell membrane, plasma membrane, and the third one is your selectively permeable membrane. So, why it is named as selectively permeable membrane? Selectively permeable membrane. Selection. Yes, it's the cell membrane who selects the materials which goes in and out of the cell. It doesn't allow every substance to go inside the cell. Yes, it allows the substance which is beneficial for the cell. Yes, that's why it is called as your selectively permeable membrane, because it doesn't allow every materials to move in and out of the cell. So hence this cell membrane or this plasma membrane is called as your selectively permeable membrane. Yes. Now, second thing. It's what we know, that it's an outer covering. Yes, it's very delicate. It's very delicate, elastic. Yes, it's very, very delicate, elastic, and a dynamic structure of the cell. Yes, so it's very, very thin. It's very delicate. It's very elastic and a very dynamic structure of the cell, guys. Yes, so it's called as your selectively permeable membrane, and it's very thin in structure, and it's very elastic in structure, it's very delicate in structure, and hence it forms a dynamic structure of the cell, guys. Yes, and what it is made up of then? We have discussed it is selectively permeable membrane. It's thin, elastic, and delicate structure, but what is this plasma membrane made up of? This plasma membrane is made up of lipids, guys. It's made up of lipids and proteins and somewhat some glycerol, carbohydrates, cholesterol are also there. Yes, what it is made up of? Majorly, it is made up of proteins and lipids, and that too phospholipids only. Yes, so the cell membrane is made up of 30 to 40% of lipids. Yes, and 60% of proteins, and rest a small amount of carbohydrates and cholesterol and glycerol and sometimes fatty acids. Yes, so these constitutes the cell membrane. So remember guys, cell membrane is made up of lipids and that too phospholipids. Yes, and proteins. Yes, these two comprises the plasma membrane guys. Yes, it's made up of 30 to 40% of lipids and 60 to 70% of proteins and some carbohydrates, glycerols and fatty acids. And the lipids what I just spoke, that is phospholipids, these are bounded with the proteins guys. Yes, the phospholipids are bounded with the proteins and forms the structure of the plasma membrane. Yes, so suppose think that this is a cell membrane. Yes, a cell membrane, or this is the cell. Yes, and if we are going to a small part of the cell membrane, if we are going to take a small part of the cell membrane and observe it under microscope, what type of structure we are going to observe? Yes, suppose I have taken the cell membrane, a part of the cell membrane, and observed it under microscope. What I am going to observe? I am going to observe that each cell membrane has got a head-like structure. Yes, it has got a head, a backbone and a tail structure. Yes, each cell membrane consists of three main parts. Head, yes, head, backbone and tail. Yes, each phospholipid has got a head, backbone and a tail part. Yes, each part of cell membrane when we are going to observe is made up of phospholipids, I told you. So what is the structure of that phospholipid? That phospholipid has got a head-like structure just like our head, a neck, a backbone, yes, and a tail-like structure guys. And that head, yes guys, so that head is made up of phosphate. Remember, so the phospholipid structure has got a head, a backbone and a tail. And what is that head-like, this rounded head-like structure made up of? It is made up of your phosphate. And the backbone, yes, and the backbone is made up of glycerol. Yes, and finally the tail part is made up of your fatty acids. Understood? When we are going to observe a particular phospholipid, it has got three parts. A head, yes, your backbone and your tail part. So head is made up of your phosphate, yes, then your backbone is made up of your glycerol and the tail part is made up of your fatty acids. Yes, again, this head part is there now, which is made up of your phosphate. It is hydrophilic in nature. Yes, head is hydrophilic, but the tail is hydrophobic. Yes, the head is hydrophilic, but the tail is hydrophobic. Hydrophilic means what? Hydrophilic, water loving. Yes, it's a water loving, but hydrophobic, water hating. Yes, hydrophilic, water loving, and hydrophobic means water hating. Understood guys? Once again I would like to tell about the structure of cell membrane is that when we are going to observe a part of the cell membrane, and even when we are going to observe a single phospholipid, yes, it comprises of three important parts, that is head, yes, your backbone, yes, and your tail. Head made up of phosphate, your backbone made up of glycerol, and the tail is made up of your fatty acid guys. Yes, again another important point to remember, head is hydrophilic and the tail is hydrophobic in nature guys. So this is the structure of a single particular phospholipid. Yes, so when we are going to observe the structure of your cell membrane, a part of the cell membrane under microscope, we will see that it is a phospholipid bilayer structure. So cell membrane is a phospholipid bilayer structure. Yes, what type of structure cell membrane has? Phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipid bilayer. Bi means two. Layer means, you know, layers. So how many layers of phospholipid should be there? 2 layers. And hence the structure of plasma membrane is depicted as phospholipid bilayer. How? See, I have just drawn here. You can see here a layer of phospholipid. This is the first layer of phospholipid. Yes? And this is the second layer of phospholipid. And these two comprises your phospholipid bilayer. Yes, guys? Yes. If you can observe, it's an overall structure of plasma membrane, which I am going to discuss one by one. Yes. Here what happened? First layer of phospholipid is present. Yes. And here another second layer of phospholipid is present. Between these two layers, a tunnel protein is present. Yes. And here what happened in the down? We have taken only the part of the cell membrane. And inside the cell membrane, what is present? Cytoplasm. So the first layer of your phospholipid, second layer of phospholipid, and connecting both of them is a tunnel protein. And the middle of the layers you can find cholesterol. The purple one is the cholesterol. Again, external protein is present, internal protein is there. Yes, how the structure of your plasma membrane is there? First one, it has got phospholipid bilayer, means 2 layers of phospholipids are there. Yes, linking them, the tunnel protein is present. Yes, so if there is a protein present into the external environment of the cell membrane, it is called as your external proteins. And when it is inside, yes, inside the cell membrane or touching the cytoplasm, then it is called as your internal proteins. And in between, you can find the embedded chloroplast, carbohydrates are there. So this was the basic structure of the plasma membrane. And again guys, number of models came, yes, to describe the structure of the plasma membrane. Yes, the first one is your sandwich model. Yes, it's not the regular sandwich you are eating. It's all about plasma membrane sandwich model. Yes, and it was first of all put forward by Daniel and Davison. Yes, who were the two scientists? Devison, Davison and Daniel. And in which year? In the year 1935. Yes. So Daniel and Davison in the year 1935 put forwarded the sandwich model. Why it is called a sandwich model? Yes, generally we know that yes, phospholipid is a bilayer structure, but what they said, it's a trilayer structure. Yes, what did they say? This structure, this plasma membrane structure is a trilayer structure. Why trilayer structure? Means here phospholipid bilayer, this phospholipid bilayer lies between two proteins. Yes, you can see that red and orange one, the first layer of phospholipid, the second layer of phospholipid. So, phospholipid bilayer. These two phospholipid bilayer lies between the external protein and internal protein. Yes, the phospholipid lies between your two layers of proteins or two hydrophobic layers. Yes, this one is your, yes, hydrophobic region or not? Hydrophobic region, this one is your hydrophobic. We already discussed that tail is hydrophobic, water hating. Yes guys. So, what is the sandwich model said? The sandwich model who was first of all put forward by Daniel and Davison in the year 1935. They said that yes, plasma membrane is a trilayer structure. How trilayer structure means? This phospholipid bilayer lies in between the two layers of proteins or two hydrophobic layers. Yes, but these was not accepted guys. This concept was not at all accepted, another theory came forward. Yes, what is that theory? That is your unit membrane concept. Yes, another came that is called as your unit membrane concept. The first one is your sandwich model, which tells about your dry layer structure, which was not accepted, and another concept came. That concept is called as your unit membrane concept. And who first of all put forward this unit membrane concept? It's none other than your J. David Robertson. Yes, it was first of all put forward by your J. David Robertson, and in the year 1959. Yes, in the year 1959, Robertson came with the unit membrane concept. So what does this concept says? Yes, this concept says that inside the cell organelles are there, and cell organelles has also got an outer covering, which is a membrane. Yes. So what did he said that the cell membrane or the membrane of the cell organelles are of same composition that of the cell membrane. Means cell membrane and the cell organelles membrane are made up of same composition. That is why it is called as your unit membranes. Means cell membrane is a unit membranes. Means they are made up of same composition, guys. Yes, cell organelles has got the outer covering, which is a membrane, and the cell membrane is itself a outer covering. Yes, so both this covering has got the same composition, and hence it is called as your unit membrane. Yes, understood? But all these concepts, guys, were not accepted. Finally, a very good model was depicted by our scientists Singer and Nicholson, which is called as your fluid mosaic model. Yes, so fluid mosaic model was put forwarded by Singer and Nicholson, S.J. Singer and G.L. Nicholson, and in the year 1972, guys. Yes. So this fluid mosaic model was first of all put forward by S.J. Singer and G.L. Nicholson, guys, in the year 1972. Yes, there is no doubt that yes, plasma membrane is made up of lipids and proteins. But the thing what he said is that these proteins and lipids can easily move. Either lateral side movement is there, sidewise movement is there. For what? For the proteins and lipids, they can move laterally, they can move sidewise, guys. Yes, and when there is a movement, then definitely the membrane is floating. Yes, and hence it is called as fluid. Yes, guys. Plasma membrane, we already know, it's made up of lipids and proteins. And these lipids and proteins, they move laterally as well as the sidewise. And hence it maintains the fluid structure of the plasma membrane. Hence called as the fluid mosaic model. But why mosaic? Yes, and in this proteins and lipid, we have discussed that number of cholesterols, yes, are embedded over it, which forms a mosaic, floor-like structure. So hence it is called as your fluid mosaic model, guys. And it is widely accepted model. Yes, guys, I will just summarize the few important things about plasma membrane. It's called a selectively permeable membrane because it doesn't allow everything to move in and out of the cell. It's very thin, delicate, elastic structure. It's made up of your lipids and most particularly your phospholipids, yes, and proteins and some glycerol, carbohydrates and cholesterol. Yes, and it's a phospholipid bilayer because two layers of phospholipids are present. And when we are going to observe a particular phospholipid, it has got a neck, backbone and tail. So neck made up of phosphate, your backbone is made up of glycerol and the tail is made up of your fatty acid. Another important thing to remember is that head is hydrophilic, water loving, and tail is hydrophobic. It's a water hating. Yes, and likewise some tunnel proteins are there which links the two layers. So outside the cell membrane there is an external protein. When we are going inside near the cytoplasm, internal proteins are there. Some cholesterol, carbohydrates, all these are embedded in the lipids and the protein bilayers. Yes, and for this structure, a number of concepts came forward, out of which your sandwich model, Daniel and Division in the year 1935. For them, it's a for your cell membrane is a tri-layer structure which is present between two layers of proteins. And then comes your unit membrane by Robertson. What did he say? The cell organelles membrane as well as the cell membrane are of same composition. Hence, it can be considered as a unit membrane. But the most widely accepted was the fluid mosaic model, which was proposed by Singer and Nicholson in the year 1972. Yes, and since lipids and proteins, they move laterally and sideways, they exhibits the fluidity, whereas your mosaic means cholesterol and carbohydrates, all they are embedded. They form a flow-like structure, means mosaic-like structure. So this is what the structure of plasma membrane, guys. Yes, right now what we have discussed is all about the structure of plasma membrane. Yes, now let's come to the function of plasma membrane. What function do this cell membrane, do this plasma membrane exhibits? Two important functions, guys. First, we have already discussed that it's a selectively permeable membrane. Yes, it's a selectively permeable membrane, and the second function is your transport system. It acts as a transport system. Yes, how many functions do this cell membrane performs? It performs two important functions, guys. First, it acts as a selectively permeable membrane, and secondly, it acts as a transport system. So now let's discuss one by one. So the first one, selectively permeable membrane. So we guys know that yes, selectively permeable membrane means it won't allow everything to move in and out of the cell, guys. Yes. Now, so whatever the things or whatever the materials which moves in and out of the cell by the process of selectively permeable membrane need to be smaller in size. Yes, smaller molecules can travel through selectively permeable membrane. Remember, selectively permeable membrane allows the movement of only the smaller molecules. Means smaller molecules can only move through the smaller semi-permeable membrane, because it can't allow the larger molecules to pass through the semi-permeable membrane. Yes, but how these molecules moves? How these molecules moves in and out of the cell. How the molecules, whether the oxygen molecules or the carbon dioxide molecules move inside the cell. How the carbon dioxide molecules moves out of the cell in our body. Yes, what is that system called? It generally, the molecules generally moves in and out of the cell by two main processes. First one is your diffusion and the second one is your osmosis. You might have heard these two words, osmosis and diffusion. So how do the selectively permeable membrane acts? By involving which two processes? The two processes are your diffusion and osmosis. Yes, what are the two processes? Don't forget, diffusion and osmosis. So what is diffusion? So I will give you a simple example. I have taken a bucket full of water. Yes, I just put a drop of ink at a particular place in the water. Yes, after some times, what you guys are going to observe? Let me know in the comment section below. Yes, what you guys are going to observe as per your idea. I am going to observe that the whole bucket of water will turn blue in color. Yes, why this happened? It's because of diffusion. Yes, it's all because of diffusion, guys. The entire water in the bucket turned blue. Because when I put the drop of ink at a particular place, at that particular place, what happened? Higher molecules of blue color is there. So gradually what happened? It moves. Yes, it moves and mixes into the entire water. Yes. So this we can take an example in case of your water. But what happened in case of gas? How diffusion takes place in gases? Suppose, yes, I took a room spray. Yes, and just sprayed it in the entire room. What happened after some times? Yes, everyone can enjoy the smell of it in the entire room. Yes, it's also diffusion. But it is in the case of gases, guys. Yes, means the molecules moves towards the from higher concentration to lower concentration. That we can take in an example of gases. But what about solid? How we can say diffusion takes place in solids? Can anyone tell me the example? How diffusion process takes place in case of solids? Okay, guys. So when we are going to have a long holidays, what you guys do? You write happy vacation on your board or not, whether whiteboard or green board, whatever it may be. Yes, you used to write or not, happy vacations. Yes, and you are not going to come to the class for at least 2 months or 3 months. So on the day when you attend the class after the holidays, yes, and when you are going to rub the board, you still get the marks of the letters what you wrote on the board. Still, the letter can be seen. Happy vacation letters can be seen on the board. Why it happened? Means still the molecules, yes, still the molecules remains in the board from higher concentration to lower concentration, and it is a best example of diffusion in case of your solid, guys. Yes, I have given 3 examples of diffusion in case of your liquid, that is ink water, second gas, your perfume spray, and the solid case, your blackboard, summer vacation. Yes, so how will you define diffusion now? Diffusion is a process where the molecules moves from higher concentration region to the lower concentration region through semi-permeable membrane. Yes, so how you are going to define diffusion? Yes, diffusion is a process where the molecules moves from higher concentration region to lower concentration region through semi-permeable membrane. Yes, and it takes place in solid, liquid and gases. Yes, guys, in all the 3 cases, diffusion takes place. In our body itself, guys, we are telling now inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. Yes, how oxygen enters into our cell? It's because of diffusion process. How carbon dioxide moves out of the cell? It's because of diffusion process, guys. Yes, depending on the concentration. Yes, and the second process is your osmosis. Yes, osmosis. The same thing. Here the definition is same. What is the definition? It's also a process. The process in which the molecules moves from higher concentration to lower concentration region through the semi-permeable membrane. So what is the difference, guys, between diffusion and osmosis? Please let me know in the comment section. Yes, so what's the difference? What's the difference between diffusion and osmosis? I will tell you. Diffusion takes place in all 3 cases, guys. Solid, liquid and gas. But osmosis takes place in liquid medium only. Yes, so osmosis takes place only in liquid medium. And I can give you the best example. Generally, your mother soak almonds for you guys or not? Yes or no? To make you healthy and fit, your mother soak almond in a bowl of water overnight. Yes, so that you can have that almonds in the morning. Have you guys ever observed it? Yes? Have you ever observed it? No. So when we are going to soak the almonds in water overnight, the next morning what we are going to observe? The almond swells in size. Yes? The almonds swells in size. Why does it happen? It's a question for you guys. Yes? You have to answer it in the comment section below. Why the almonds, yes, swells in size. Yes, swells in size when you are soaking it overnight. Or when the raisins swells in size. Yes, when the raisins swells in size when you are soaking it overnight. Let me know the answer in the comment section below. Think it, guys. It's because of osmosis. That's what I'm telling you. Yes, why the almond swells in size. Yes, so finally, what is osmosis? Means, what is osmosis? The process by which the molecules move from higher concentration to the lower concentration through the semi-permeable membrane, but it takes place only in case of liquid. Yes. Now, osmosis has got three types of solution. Hypotonic solution, isotonic solution, and hypertonic solutions. Osmosis exhibits three types of solution. What are that three types of solution, guys? First one, hypotonic solution. What it is? Hypotonic solution, isotonic solution, and the third one is your hypertonic solution. So what is hypertonic solution? Yes, what is hypotonic solution? Yes, let's take an example. Yes, whenever the surrounding medium of the cell, yes, if the cell is placed in the middle, the surrounding medium of the cell, yes, has got higher concentration of molecules as compared to the inner concentration. Yes, when the surrounding medium has got high concentration as compared to the inner concentration or the inner environment, then what happens? The molecules from the higher region, yes, moves inside the lower concentration region, and that solution is called as your hypotonic solution. When the medium has higher concentration as compared to the cell, then it is called as your hypotonic solution. Same as opposite. Hyper means when the surrounding medium has less concentration as compared to the cell. Less concentration outside. Yes, less concentration outside as compared to the cell. Then what happens? The cell will lose water. Yes, and the cell gets shrinks. And such solution is called as your hypertonic solution. Yes, when the surrounding medium has lower concentration as compared to the cell will loses water. Yes, and the third one is your isotonic solution. In the both the side, the concentration will be the same. So there is no net gain or loss of water. And such solution is called as your isotonic solution. This is what the most important function of plasma membrane, that is selectively permeable membrane through osmosis and diffusion. Okay. The second important function of plasma membrane is your transport system, guys. Yes, what it is? Transport system. And this transport system is of three. Like your selectively permeable membrane, it has two types, osmosis and diffusion. In the same way, your transport system has got four types. Active transport system, passive transport system, endocytosis and exocytosis. Yes, how many types? Four. Active transport system, passive transport system, that is endocytosis and exocytosis. So what is active transport system? The active transport system, and guys, it's only for the larger molecules, which we said that it cannot pass through the selectively permeable membrane. Yes, so the active transport is for your larger molecules or ions. Yes, so when the outside concentration is low, yes, when the outside concentration, the medium concentration is low as compared to the inside of the cell, then these larger molecules, these ions, yes, they move inside the cell. Then these molecules moves inside the cell by taking some energy in the form of ATP. Yes, they utilizes some energy. The ions, the macromolecules, they utilizes the energy to pass to the higher inside the cell, and that is called as your active transport system. Active transport system, when does it takes place? When the outside medium has got low concentration and inside cell has higher concentration, and it takes place only in the large molecules or ions which utilizes energy to move from the outside to inside, and it is called as your active transport system. And the second one is your passive transport system. What is passive transport? It's same as diffusion, guys. Yes. How means outside high concentration and no energy is required, from higher concentration to lower concentration, and no energy is required, guys. Yes, and it's same as your diffusion. That is called as your passive transport system. And the third one is your endocytosis. Endocytosis means nothing but removal of the waste products from the cell or the removal of the toxin. That is endocytosis. And exocytosis means exocytosis. It is of two types, pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Pinocytosis. What is pinocytosis? Pinocytosis means it will take only liquid. Yes, they are called as only there is an entry of water only in case of pinocytosis. They are called water drinking. Yes, and then the phagocytosis means entry of only solid. They are solid, eating. Yes, so these are the various functions performed by our plasma membrane. So guys, today's concept was very important. You have to go through your books and revise the structure of the cell, the plasma membrane and function. So we will meet with another interesting and important concept. Until then, do hard work, stay safe and healthy at home. Bye.